at Accunet.com.
The Bucks are taking the playoffs back home.
My mindset right now is game 3. I know what I got to do.
To turn things around against the Pacers.
Giannis the other way. Gallops down the lane and plunges it through with a right-hand jam. There was nothing in between him and the rim.
Our Game 3 coverage starts tonight at 6 with Bucks Shoot-Around on your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
10:01, it's 47 degrees. Today, showers are likely, but mostly cloudy and breezy with a high of 55. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Tiff Pua. The FBI arrests a Milwaukee County Circuit judge over allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant, quote, evade arrest. Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested this morning at the Milwaukee County Courthouse on obstruction charges. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed to ABC News that she, quote, misdirected federal agents away from Eduardo Flores Ruiz when they tried to arrest him on April 18. Ruiz is a Mexican citizen and was arrested a short time later. Attendance at Night 1 of the NFL Draft reaches levels that required some crowd control.
NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell started Thursday's festivities by mentioning the growing crowd size.
People said that Greenway was too small, but we have over 125,000 people here and still counting.
That number eventually would balloon to 205,000 fans, according to the NFL. So many people filled the stage area, entrance had to be halted Thursday evening, while overflow seating was set up in the bowl of Lambeau Field. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
I'm Julia Fellow in Green Bay. It may have felt like a zoo here for the first day of the NFL Draft.
Chicken tenders, chicken wings, NFL Draft. Come eat.
But that is proving it will be a huge economic shot in the arm. Estimates from the Greater Green Bay Chamber shows our state will likely see $100 million in economic impact. Of that, $20 million will benefit all of Brown County. And there is not even a number on the benefit of millions of eyes seeing beauty shots of Lambeau Field while watching the draft from home.
The gates for Day 2 of the NFL Draft open at noon today. A Milwaukee public school finally reopens after being closed over lead dust.
Fernwood Montessori reopens today after the Milwaukee Health Department approved the school safety standards on Tuesday night. Fernwood, along with Starnes Early Childhood Center and La Follette School, have been closed for weeks due to elevated amounts of lead dust. Milwaukee Health Department officials say Starnes is more than 50% of the way through with its cleanup and hopes to open by the end of the month, while La Follette School will still undergo remediation for 4 to 6 weeks. Both MPS and MHD say they're close to presenting their lead action plan to the district. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
A senior Russian military officer has been killed in a car bombing just outside of Moscow. It happened several hours after U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Moscow to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. News Nation's Tom Dempsey.
We do expect President Donald Trump to speak directly with world leaders about these negotiations over a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. That attack in Moscow, as well as the one in Kyiv yesterday, leading to lots of frustration inside the White House and really even more calls to see this war come to an end. President Trump met face-to-face with the Norwegian prime minister inside the Oval Office on Thursday, saying he wasn't happy with Russian President Vladimir Putin after a major assault on Kyiv.
At the peace talks, Russia is expected to focus on issues including the control of Crimea, which was taken from Ukraine in 2014. A disgraced former U.S. Representative George Santos faces sentencing in a federal court. The New York Republican pled guilty last summer to federal wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Santos admitted he deceived donors and stole the identities of nearly a dozen people to fund his congressional campaign. He served less than a year in Congress before being expelled in 2023 after his lies and fraud were uncovered. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed day on the boards today. The Dow is down 197 points to 39,895. The S&P 500 is down just under a point to 5,483. And the NASDAQ is up 51 points to 17,217. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 10:05.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scaffidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds. Reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely. And I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times, that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint, it's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Time for a WTMJ Sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Packers have a new star, fit for the green and gold, wide receiver Matthew Golden.
Hey, I'm finna bring that energy, man. I'm glad to be here. It's a blessing. Hey, let me get a Green Bay 3. 1, 2, 3.
Golden is the first wide receiver pick the Packers have made in the first round since 2002. Rounds 2 and 3 of the draft are tonight in Green Bay. And the Bucs return to Fiserv Forum tonight, down 0-2 to the Pacers. Coverage begins with the Bucs shoot-around tonight at 6 o'clock right here on WTMJ. And the Brewers head to St. Louis for 3 games against the Cardinals. Hear that game from Busch Stadium over on 94.5 ESPN. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. One incident to report. There's a crash on the exit to North Avenue West from 45 South. Now the police are out and the tow truck is out as well, but that ramp is closed at the moment, so that's the North Avenue West ramp from 45 South. If you are heading to Green Bay for the draft, everything is smooth sailing. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Showers likely, mostly cloudy and breezy, a high of 55. Tonight, decreasing clouds, but still breezy, a low of 39. Saturday, a few clouds and then turning mostly sunny, a high of 57. Sunday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. For your Monday, the chance of showers and storms, but it's going to be warm, a high of 78. And for your Tuesday, morning showers scattered with storms and breezy, but a high of 70, but that drops into the afternoon. Right now in Madison, it's 49. In Waukesha, it's 55. If you're heading to Green Bay, there's light rain and it's 46. And in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 47 degrees. I'm Tiff Bua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 10:09.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Happy Friday. Man, do we have a lot to get to. Steve, what's it like on the ground in Green Bay right now?
It is overcast, but it's day 2 of a really big deal, a tremendous celebration of football and all things Packers football in Green Bay. And I'm excited for day 2. I got a long day. I'll be working ESPN tonight, 6 to 10, ESPN 94.5. But we're here to talk to the smart guys.
Well, hold on, Steve. You sound a little less sharp than usual.
Right?
Did
you
lose your
there
voice
was a
Manhattan involved at the end of the day yesterday?
How could you not cheer loudly? I mean, that golden
it was
pick
Supper
in the first
Club
round was incredible.
themed, right? Yesterday, was there a Manhattan involved?
I did not have actually, here's the surprising thing. I didn't drink.
Good for you.
Did not drink. Wow. All right.
Good
Well,
for-
all right. So
you
we're
were the only one of the 205,000 that didn't.
between Rogers Love and Grab Bag, I'm sure we're going to come back to the draft. But any initial thoughts before we get into the breaking news of the day with Judge Dugan?
Another opportunity to be super proud of the state of Wisconsin. We showed out. We showed up. I mean, 205,000 people is the official estimate for the NFL. Last year, the draft in Detroit drew 250 for the entire 3 days.
Yeah.
We're
Take
going to
that,
top
Michigan.
that. We're going to top that today, no doubt about it. It looked like everybody had a ton of fun, and you know, I got a lot to say about the Packers in both Grab Bag and in Love and Rogers, but it's I was proud to be a Packer fan. I was proud to be a Wisconsinite last night, and I will be for the entire weekend. We looked good.
Yeah, what a showcase for the state. When you think about the economic impact, it's terrific. And it shows how sports, I think, are one of the last few things that really foster community and bring
Amen.
people together.
Amen.
Where it doesn't matter what you look like, where you worship, who you
Right.
vote for. Like, we need more of that energy that was on display in Green Bay last night.
For sure.
And less of probably what we're going to devolve into pretty quickly here.
All right, well, let's get into it because I know we were going to spend more time on that, but I think it's we'd be remiss to not start with the breaking news that happened literally right before we went on air, and the fact that it has been confirmed that the FBI has arrested local judge Hannah Dugan. And I had not been following this story as closely as it seems like I should have been, but I guess immediately, Joe, you seemed like you want to.
Yeah, like in this country, no one is above the law. Period. At least that used to be the case, right? Like now we have an administration in D.C. that is pushing the bounds of law. You know, criminal indictments were just walked away from. I believe, and I want to live in an America where no one, from a president to a judge to the common citizen to the person here undocumented who still gets the protections of the Constitution, is not above the law. Judge Dugan should get due process. She should get a hearing before her peers. And if she is found to have broken the law, she should be held accountable for that. And there's a second layer to this story that we need to make part of the immigration conversation that's happening in this country. Okay, we want, in the name of public safety, even people who are here undocumented to be participants in the judicial system. If an undocumented person is in a car accident or, you know, is the victim of a crime, we want them to feel like they can avail themselves of the judicial system. And what has been happening in the Milwaukee County Courthouse is a cause for concern, and we got to figure that out, right? If you've got ICE agents, they're picking off people who are there to, you know, appear and testify in a criminal case, or who are arrested and then show up for their hearing. If what we're doing is rounding those folks up, we are disincentivizing people from participating, and I believe that makes our community less safe. And so I just want to point out that, like, that's the part of this that needs more conversation. And Judge Dugan will get due process as she should.
Bill?
Joe and I are in agreement on most of that. I think the judge should get due process. There are alleged facts that I won't go into because they're alleged. We'll see how those play out. But at the end of the day, I think a couple of facts that are really important for the listeners to understand is the courthouse is a public building. So the feds could go in there at any time to get somebody who's here illegally or a criminal that they're looking for. And so that what's alleged here is she obstructed justice. And again, I want her to get due process. She's apparently in federal custody right now. We'll see how this all shakes out. But I think it's a message to judges across the country that, you know, you got to follow the law. Joe and I are in full agreement on that. Whether you're the president of the United States or a judge in Milwaukee County, the law is the law, right? And there's really no gray area on that.
And how do you feel about the second part of what Joe said, as far because it's not even just the judicial system. We're also hearing about this with people, the IRS handing over undocumented immigrants information, and so people being afraid to file their taxes, which is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is a realignment federally anyway about, you know, what the new policy is of the administration. We are going to take care of Americans who are here legally first, and everyone else has to get in line and go through the formal process. And some of this is going to be messy, I think, over the next maybe months or even a couple of years worth of this.
I just want to say, like, taking care of Americans first is a fine sentiment, but part of that is public safety. And when we know the reality is that for the last 30 years, millions of people at times when Democrats were president, Republicans were president, came here undocumented. If what we are saying is we are cleaving you off from the system, and if you should harm accidentally or intentionally someone who is here legally, and they are not part of the system anymore, that makes everyone else less safe.
All right, let's go to our first break. Steve is up in Green Bay. We are here with Bill McCoshen, Joe Zepecki, Political Power Hour. It is only an hour today. Joe's got to go do candidate stuff.
Got to hit the road.
So we'll be back right after this.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Spring is in the air, the perfect time to kickstart those home improvement dreams. Hi, Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. They're your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient upgrades. Boost your curb appeal and add real value with top brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. All customized to fit your home and your style. Wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, they've got it all. And their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom is the place to start. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
The Trump administration says it has not violated a court order, defending some deportations in a new court filing.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy tells WTMJ he credits the city for landing the draft and the developments just to the north of Lambeau Field.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. Only on WTMJ.
First Stage brings an inspiring story of hope and resilience to the stage. Don't miss the world premiere of Esperanza Rising, based on Pam Munoz Ryan's beloved novel, May 2nd through May 18th at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. In this fast-moving adaptation, when the only life she's ever known collapses, young Esperanza must find the strength to rebuild in a new home. Celebrate heritage, family, and perseverance in this unforgettable theatrical event. Get your tickets today at firststage.org.
They wanna get mine.
A whole day dedicated to us? No, dedicated to you, the WTMJ listener. Come celebrate WTMJ Day with us, your favorite WTMJ hosts. We're having a private tailgate at the Brewers game Saturday, May 17th. We're going to have food and drinks. You can come hang out with us. Plus, we're going to get you tickets to the game as the Brewers take on the Twins at AmFam Field. Get more information and secure your tickets at WTMJday.com. Tickets are going to go fast, so sign up today. We'll see you at the ballpark for WTMJ Day, Saturday, May 17th, sponsored by Woodman's. All right, welcome back to I think we're still calling it the Political Power Hour. Bill McCoshen, Joe Zepecki. Steve is up on remote, on location at the draft. So let's move on to talk about the developments in Ukraine and Russia this week. It was one of the deadliest attacks this week as far as Russia having a strike on Kyiv, and there was at least 12 people killed.
12 people injured, 12 killed, 87 injured in the deadliest assault on the Ukrainian capital since July, which led to President Trump putting on Twitter, I am not happy with the Russian strikes. Not necessary, very bad timing. Vladimir, all caps, stop. Because that's how we apparently conduct high-level diplomacy now.
I would say I'm for peace. I've been for peace all along. I don't think we have willing parties on the peace issue. I don't think Russia wants peace. I don't think Ukraine wants peace. And honestly, I think that leaves us and our Western allies in a tough spot, right? Do we do what we have traditionally done, which is just fund Ukraine, no questions asked, for as long as this goes on, which could be a lifetime? Or do we continue to try and force peace some way, shape, or form? Joe raises it, and it's a fair point. I mean, the president overestimated how quickly he could get this resolved. It's tough. These are deep-seated, maybe not Middle Eastern-type deep-seated that have gone on for centuries, but these are pretty deep-seated divisions between Ukraine and Russia that won't be overcome overnight.
But sometimes complicated offers clarity. And I've been thinking about this and thinking about you, Bill, and here's what I want to ask you. How much of Wisconsin territory north of Highway 29 are you willing to roll over and let Canada take? If they decide to roll tanks over the border and say, you know what, your hometown of Superior is now part of Canada. And after months and months and years of fighting, the line is at Highway 29. Are you prepared to say, yeah, you know what, take it, Canada, it's yours?
When I was a kid, we wanted to be our own state. We were going to be the 51st state called Superior.
And that's
we were
cute.
going to take
clever.
the UP.
But
and
you
I think we
understand my
have more
point.
weaponry than Canada does. I think the city of Superior has more weapons than Canada.
You understand my point, though?
I do.
Right? And so,
I
like,
do.
it's hard and it's messy, and the work of peace is difficult. But it should be clarifying that if Vladimir Putin wants to end this, turn around and tell the Russians to go home. That, like, if you want to negotiate in good faith and you say there's a ceasefire, stop bombing civilians on Easter Sunday. Like, there is a person here who bears more of the blame, and it's Vladimir Putin. It's not Vladimir Zelensky. It's not the people of Ukraine, and we can be clear-eyed about that.
But some of the details of this are maddening, right? Like, one of the things the United States wants is for Crimea to officially be part of Russia, which, by the way, they've had since 2014 when Barack Obama was
multiple presidents since then.
Right?
Yes.
So why is that hard? I'm not sure why that's hard.
I agree. And if it was easy, Trump would have solved it on day one like he promised us. He hasn't. And I don't think it is befitting the American presidency to this week, what it seems like Secretary of State Rubio is hinting at is like, Trump's just tired of this.
I was going to say,
and so he's going to walk
is the
away.
answer just to wash your hands of it and say, all right, well, you guys got to deal with it then?
I don't know the
we're
inside
out?
details, but one of the things I think they're worried about is the relationship between Russia and China, right? And where does that go if this whole thing falls apart?
Yeah, well, maybe we shouldn't start a trade war with China that drives them into the arms of our other geopolitical foes. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
The chairman in waiting.
So, Steve, you've been pretty quiet. You got anything to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm listening to this, and it's a difference between a campaign and real life.
Yeah.
This stuff is hard, scary, dangerous, and all the things you say in a campaign. I'll end the war in one day. I'll fix the tariff situation. It's all nonsense. But in this case, it won an election. I think we have to be big boys and big girls here and understand that these things are going to take time. What would I do? I'd have Marco Rubio all over this stuff, and I would never let him get away. I think the president's entourage includes the last gentleman with the last name Wickoff.
Steve Wickoff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been handling all that stuff. But where's Marco Rubio on this? I know there's a lot of big stories across the world that he has to deal with. This should be one of them. The bottom line is, I think that Crimea is a great example of how it gets hard and stubborn. They've had it since 2014. They've had it since the Barack Obama administration. And Zelensky doesn't want to let go. He does not want to hand it over, even though it's already there. That's the problem.
But I do think
it requires big people to do big things.
But I do think Zelensky's issue at the moment is not all of Crimea. It's everything beyond Crimea.
Mm-hmm.
Like that seems like where this will land
I
or
think
should
his
land.
red line is he wants to be part of NATO, which our European allies and we are not going to let happen. So,
why not? The point of NATO is to stop land grabs in Europe, right? And the only time we've ever had to enact Article 5 was after 9/11 when all of our European and global allies came to our defense.
A lot of people argue that was the trigger. When they sought to be in NATO, that's when Russia decided to invade. So
I mean,
if Ukraine falls, what's next? That's the question. Even though they're not part of NATO.
Poland. Vince and I are very concerned.
All right. On that note,
for the south side of Milwaukee, Joe's here for you.
Let's take a quick break. Steve Scaffidi, I am Kristin Brey. We're here with Bill McCoshen and Joe Zepecki. And let's talk a little bit about the other country you just mentioned, China.
Let's do it.
Are there talks? Is
Yeah.
it just an imaginary friend? I don't know. We'll find out.
It's Festivus every
Point
week
taken
here.
on WTMJ.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics, chronic joint pain. You know what living with chronic joint pain is like? It's like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good, right? So forget trying to do the things you enjoy like golfing or hiking or tennis. You're just trying to get by. But there is something you can do. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Milwaukee are on the case and focus on getting you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that can help calm the debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you're curious if you'd be a candidate, the consultation is totally free, and they do have appointments on Saturdays. So here's the number. Call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Have you heard a lot of buzz about tariffs?
No.
Really?
What's a tariff?
It's a tax on imported goods.
Well, I've never heard of tariffs because 92.3% of Penny Mustard's furniture is made in the USA.
True.
In fact, most of it is built by local craftsmen and women right here in the Midwest.
And locally sourced furniture will never have a tariff on it.
Can we talk about this later? I'm tired of hearing about these tariffs.
So I guess you can say that all this talk about tariffs is taxing.
PennyMustard.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. 16-year-old boy named Tyler Snowden.
I was in my house, I was screaming. I seen the kid on top of the roof, the house was on fire. So I took a ladder, ran over, put the ladder up, grabbed the 4 kids, and helped the mom down the ladder. I don't know, I wasn't thinking, I just took the ladder and ran.
Everyday hero on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Public service, courage, bravery, sacrifice. These are terms used to describe those who work in public safety who go above and beyond each and every day of their lives. If you have a police officer, dispatcher, fire professional, or an emergency nurse who impacted your life, in May we'll honor the best examples of paying it forward, sharing the tremendous stories of these local heroes. Nominate your local hero at WTMJ.com. Click on the Salute to Service banner at the top, or by texting SALUTE to the Siding Unlimited talk and text line.
It's Steve Scaffidi Salute to Service, presented by Waterstone Bank.
The Green Bay Packers! We love the green and gold in all.
All right, well, we're not talking Packers quite yet, but welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. Steve Scaffidi is up on location, remote in Green Bay. We got Bill McCosh and Joseph Pecky here. We only got a couple minutes, so let's at least start with the softening tone Trump seemed to have taken this week, both with conversations with China and talking about tariffs and trade deals, but also a softer tone on Jerome Powell. And I guess, what do you make of that, Bill McCosh? Is it still 4D chess?
I think he is listening to some key advisors that he needs to, his words matter, and they were having a negative impact on the market. And whether it was Scott Bessent or any, Hard Lednick or a variety of those folks, somebody got to him and said, you can't say those things. You can't say you're going to get rid of Jerome Powell. You can't say, we'll ratchet up tariffs on China, to infinity, because that impacts the markets and that ultimately impacts regular people, right? Not everyone's invested in the market the way, certain investors are. But if you got a 401k, you are in the market, right? Mm-hmm. And you are being impacted by this. So I think I viewed it as a good sign that he realized that he's part of the problem with the market right now, and he has to be consistent. And I've said that for weeks and weeks and weeks. The thing business needs more than anything else is predictability, right? And he was.
Then why did you vote for Donald Trump?
His unpredictability is impacting.
But the tariffs would have always done that.
Yeah, and
that was what he ran
won
on.
That. But I don't know that people thought he was going to do 247 at one time, right? Where we were going to do this globally, right? That's never been done in the history of the world. So,
but clearly, I mean,
talk about big things. That's another big thing.
Like a super smart guy, right? Yeah. Like my brother who works in finance, he has a lot of respect for this guy.
Yep.
And no one could stop him before he went out there with his big chart and saying like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't do this."
Well,
now they're getting to him.
I think they made a mistake on the math on the chart. It turns out the economist whose formula they used is like they used my formula wrong,
which is unbelievable.
No, it's totally believable because the people around him are
you got
ridiculous.
10 seconds, Steve, because then we got to go to the bottom of the other news.
Like everything else, we got to stop the super adoration of these supposed smart guys. They're not that smart.
There you go. That's less than 10 seconds. All right. When we come back, maybe we'll do a little bit more in China, but there's also some maybe softening in Wisconsin government that we'll touch on. But first, ABC News and local headlines.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The FBI has arrested a judge in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. On social media, FBI Director Kash Patel said that Judge Hannah Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from an undocumented immigrant they sought to arrest. It's a sharp escalation in President Trump's immigration crackdown, but Americans have concerns over another key area.
And as President Trump approaches 100 days in office, a new AP poll shows only 37% of Americans approve of how he's handling the economy, a key factor in his election victory. And the same number, just 37%, approve of how he's handling trade negotiations.
That's ABC's Rachel Scott. The president says he's spoken with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, even as Chinese officials say there have not been any talks. The president now en route to Rome for Pope Francis's funeral. The mayor of Rome says more than 200,000 people are expected tomorrow. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 10:31. I'm Tiff Pua. An overnight home invasion turns deadly just north of downtown Milwaukee. A 70-year-old victim was battered and killed inside the home near 8th and Galena. A known suspect remains at large. A second international student from UW-Madison has been granted a temporary stay after having her student visa revoked. 21-year-old Yu Yang from China is suing the Department of Homeland Security over losing her F1 student visa. The visa was revoked over a speeding ticket in which she pled no contest. Yang is suing because she was not given the right to due process. Her hearing is set for May 14th, 4 days after she's supposed to graduate from the university. And funding cuts force changes at the Medical College of Wisconsin. MCW has lost $5 million in research funds after the Trump administration canceled 8 of its grants. They have also frozen some hiring and ended plans to launch a program for aspiring physician assistants. The medical college says every dollar of NIH funding has 8 times the economic impact in the community. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed board still on today. The Dow is down 215 points to 39,817, but your S&P 500 is up half a point to 5,485, and the Nasdaq is up 67 points to 17,234. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic, just 2 incidents to report. There's a crash on the exit to North Avenue West from 45 South. Now, the ramp appears to be open, but we still have a few slowdowns in that area as people try to get around. It looks like there's also another crash behind that now where traffic is moving slowly, so just give them a wide berth. Also, 181 South is closed at Blue Mountain 84th because of a crash. The emergency vehicles have moved out, so it's slowly clearing up in that area. If you are heading out to Green Bay for the draft, no incidents or issues to report. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, showers likely and mostly cloudy and breezy, a high of 55. Tonight, the clouds will decrease, but it still remains breezy, a low of 39. For your Saturday, a few clouds and then mostly sunny, a high of 57. For your Sunday, partly cloudy and a high of 63. For your Monday, there's a chance of showers and storms, then turns partly and warm. Your high is 78 degrees. And for your Tuesday, morning showers and storms, but breezy, a high of 70, but that falls in the afternoon. Right now in Lake Geneva, it's 58. If you're heading to Green Bay, it's 46 with light rain. And in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 48 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scaffidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds. Reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely. And I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
You'll find that the licensed and certified electricians from Quality are top-notch. We've been around for over 60 years, so expect nothing but the best. And here's the kicker. With over 60 vehicles out there on the roads, you're not going to have to wait very long at all for the electrical service you need now. This is Anthony Zanevsky. For all your residential electrical needs, call Quality.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Over 60 years in business, with over 60 vehicles out in the field so we can respond ultra quickly to your emergency AC needs. When you call Quality for emergency AC service, you can count on a swift response to get the job done right away. So if the heat's got you to the point where it's just too hot to handle, call Quality and we'll get you the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow, green and yellow. I put it down, representing for my team. I'm in green and
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. Steve Scaffidi is on location in Green Bay. What's your view right now, Steve?
I'm looking out at a beautiful backyard in De Pere, Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
Overcast. There's nothing happening at Lambeau right now anyway.
Yeah, anyways. All right, well, we'll get more later in the show. We'll get your take on what you saw last night. But, of course, we're here with Bill McCoshen, Joe Zapecki. Let's move more local.
Who is fully decked out in Green Bay.
Yes, I guess we have not acknowledged
Shoes,
that you...
socks.
Everything.
Pull over, everything. Green shirt, even cufflinks are Packers.
It's pretty impressive.
Rocking the pack today.
Where are we? Are we going back to economy and China, or what?
Let's talk state politics.
I was going to say, let's do some state politics since we only have an hour today. And we still got to do Rogers Love and grab bag.
Yeah, Joe, you're not in charge yet, buddy.
Yes. So I feel like there was conflicting headlines this week. On the one hand, we heard that there is maybe some productive talks happening in regards to a tax policy deal between the governor's office and Republicans in the legislature. And then we also heard that the Republicans on the Joint Finance Committee are trying to find a way to write the budget without using digits. Right. So where are we right now as far as compromise?
Both things are true and both could happen. So for the listeners that didn't hear this, there actually was a meeting between GOP leaders and Governor Evers this week on a new middle-class tax cut. And it went well.
And that would be separate from the budget, right? This is going to, or that's
the Republicans would like it to be separate from the budget. What the governor said post-meeting was he liked what he heard, but he wants it to be part of the budget. And I think I've said this on the show. He was never going to give away that leverage. That would have been the easiest veto in the history of vetoes. If they sent it to him separately, he could say, nope, I want to see it in context with all the other major items in the budget. So I actually viewed it as a positive that A, they met. B, there was some progress, at least on a middle-class tax cut. But C, there's still some outstanding issues related to the budget created by the veto decision by the Wisconsin Supreme Court last Friday. And honestly, for those that don't understand the intricacies of this, that veto would not have been legal, the 400-year veto, had the legislature spelled out the words 2024 versus using numbers, which is seems unbelievable.
That was the Vanna White veto that went with Tommy,
it should
right?
seem unbelievable.
That you can't cross off individual letters anymore, but you could still cross off numbers.
We may never see another number in the budget.
Yeah. Numeral, like a numeral number versus it's spelled out.
I didn't hear anything better than the Jetsons veto in the last week, so I think that's what we're
I
going
get that.
with.
That was mine.
I thought, give your friend credit who texted it to you.
No. He had the eternal veto because it was Easter weekend.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's the Jetsons veto. I'm glad they're talking. I'm glad the governor is holding firm. And the problem
he's not holding the football firm. Can we say that?
This budget is going to be contingent on what happens in Washington, D.C. with reconciliation.
In part.
Because if Republicans move forward with this ridiculous plan to smash Medicaid, just to take one example, that's more than $8 billion out of the budget. And that changes the math because 2 out of every $3 spent on Medicaid in the state comes from the feds, right? Those are our tax dollars, and then they come back that way. And so they're linked. We got to get a budget done. We will. But also what's happening in D.C. is going to impact the state budget. And what's happening with Trump's numbers, he's now underwater on immigration and the economy, and his approval is dropping, means that every single day that they don't get this done, it's more likely that a half a dozen House Republicans stand up and say, hold on a second. We're going to get you some tax cuts. We're going to get you some what you want, but we're not going all the way to crazy town. and slashing Medicaid by $880 billion, we will all be voted out of office if we do take that kind of sledgehammer to our local economies. So it's all connected.
Yeah, but there could be a disconnect. I think the state budget will be completed before reconciliation. I'm going to give you
I thought you said reconciliation was going to be done in May.
I wish it was, but I was with some good sources yesterday that I think it's closer to the 4th of July where that's going to happen. There's differences between the houses, which means, it's big danger.
Danger.
No question about that. But it probably means the Republicans have to pass their budget without knowing how the federal budget's going to look.
The state Republicans.
And the way they solve that is in the fall, they could always do a budget adjustment bill if necessary.
I'd want more in the savings account and the rainy day fund if they have to go
Which
first.
is likely to happen.
Steve, you got anything?
Look, I was known as an elected official for cooperation and communication. I'm buoyed by the fact that the bill thinks that there's some potential here for some cooperation and communication. As I just said, I just, this is like the Forrest Gump phase of Wisconsin politics. It's just stupid stuff. We're arguing about numbers now. That's not how real adults act that are in really important positions. And it just infuriates me that we get this sort of stuff and we look like laughing stocks to the rest of the country. I figure it out. We have a surplus. Get it back to the people that paid it in and stop screwing around.
Mama always said the state budget is like a box of chocolates.
Gotcha.
I felt
the
like
dark ones. Dark
Steve was
chocolate
like Sister Laura Jean from St. Francis. I heard that speech before from her.
All right, when we come back, Rogers and Love, or Love and Rogers, right?
We're going to have a good time.
We're going to have a good time. This is Point Taken on WTMJ.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
This week on What's on Tap, we served up something extra special. We talked with the talented chef behind the all-new sushi experience at St. Kate, the Arts Hotel. Discover how St. Kate is blending artistry and flavor with their exciting new sushi menu, crafted with the freshest ingredients, finest seafood, and a whole lot of creativity. Ready for your next unforgettable night out? Find the interview on WTMJ.com or the What's on Tap podcast. Learn more about the new sushi menu at stkatearts.com.
It's a super affordable family fish fry Friday at the Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Do not pay $16 or more for your fish fry. The Mine Shaft fish fry is just $7.99, and it's all you can eat. You deserve it. After a long week, relax with a cold beverage and a great fish fry. Kids menu starts at $3.99, and they can safely play in that huge game room quietly tucked aside from the dining area while you finish up, maybe have an after-dinner drink. I repeat, hard to believe, the Mine Chef's all-you-can-eat fish fry is $7.99. Desserts are always buy one, get one free. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford. And near the EAA in Oshkosh, tons of seating, lots of close parking. Reserve now for your Friday $7.99 all-you-can-eat fish fry, serving from 11 a.m. Get there early. I love that fish fry. Your Saturday steak dinner is under $20. Sunday brunch under $15. What a value. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Yes, I do.
mean, Bill, you seem like you're ready to go.
Phenomenal in how he laid that out, got the crowd fired up. It was all so Green Bay and Wisconsin-like, and I loved every second of it. I loved the way that the kid reacted to being a Packer, and that was one of the better drafts I can remember.
I love when Packer fans are happy. I'm not a draft head. That's kind of, I just don't have time for it. I didn't even before I started this crazy adventure.
You could have had some votes out of there, I bet.
And I just hope this is who Goody wanted, and he didn't feel influenced by the fans, because we don't know better than him how to put a roster together.
Did you hear about his quote afterwards?
I did not.
He said he gave Murphy a different name, and then Murphy just did what he did.
Really?
Yeah, he did. It was a joke, but it was hysterical. He played along, right? That's not the name I gave him, but he went ahead and did his own thing.
I love it when we can have a good time.
Yeah.
Speed is, we got to have speed. This kid's a burner, and let's go.
4.2?
That's great.
Yikes. Let's go,
Was that your love or was that your Rodgers?
That
was your
was
grab
my
bag?
love.
What are you
No,
doing?
I got
That's
a
your love.
Rodgers.
All right, you got a love?
I think I just loved the how happy Bill is. I haven't seen him this happy in quite some time.
That's a good thing. I like that.
All right,
my Rodgers is the Minneapolis DA who is sending to a diversion program a state employee who has tagged 6 different Teslas, creating $20,000 worth of damage. No charges, diversion program. Governor Tim Walz should fire this employee. It's a bad message. This person is funded by taxpayer dollars. That person has no business being funded by taxpayers' dollars, and they should have been charged. And here's my other example. A lady, a 19-year-old who also had no criminal background, did $7,000 of damage to a different vehicle, and she was charged with a felony. So I think it's this Mary Moriarty, the Minneapolis DA, is showing Minnesotans that there's 2 systems of justice, and if you're on the right side, according to them, you're going to be good to go. So I'm doing away with Mary Moriarty.
Is there not an argument to be made that there's lots of DAs who have 2 systems of justice?
There are. Yeah, too many.
Okay.
Too many.
Yeah,
right is right is wrong.
I didn't
want to
have to go
right? For all you Catholics out there, like
Correct. That's nonsense. It's also nonsense that Donald Trump pardoned Las Vegas City Councilwoman Michelle Fiore, who was convicted of wire fraud charges last year, who stole money from a memorial to fallen police officers.
I don't get that.
So why did your guy pardon her?
I don't know. I don't get it.
It's a bad look. We got to do better, people. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
We're in agreement.
On that, we agree.
Yeah.
Steve?
I love the fact that this guy, who's a lot thinner than he was when the regular season ended, walked in the Lambeau Field yesterday, ordered a sausage, and it was a foot long, and I ate the whole damn thing. And it was delicious.
You had the hangries. I love it.
Oh, my God, it was awesome. And I'm going to Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to see my timeline filled with things about Aaron Rodgers when you're not even playing in the league and you're not assigned to a team. Get out of my timeline.
Was that weird at all yesterday? I thought that as Clay Matthews came out and Lil Wayne came out, I was like, oh, these Mason Crosby.
No Favre, no Rodgers.
No Favre, no Rodgers. And is it just because, did they turn it down? Or is it just like, well, you guys are a little too controversial and we don't want you?
They've made their choices.
Baggage. They got baggage.
They've made their choices.
Yeah. Real quick on the draft, I want to give a special shout out to Greenfield, Wisconsin's own Nate Valcarcel. Nate played for us at Whitnall. He declared for the draft. He was a Husky at Northern Illinois, had some big plays against Notre Dame in that upset. He is on the board in the secondary. I hope he goes. If you want a kid who is going to work his tail off, incredible at the line of scrimmage.
Is he day 2 or day 3?
He's day 2 or 3. Don't miss out on this kid. He will work his tail off for you, all 3 levels. Nate Valcarcel, good luck, brother. We're rooting for you, man.
All right, when we come back, we will do our grab bag and wrap things up with Bill and Joe. Steve, you still hanging in there up in De Pere?
All is good. I got 4 coffees in. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, baby. All right, we'll be right back on Point Taken.
You know the voice.
Fly ball, right field, out of here!
You know the iconic calls.
Fly ball, deep right! Back to back!
And you know he's our Brewers 360 guest on Wisconsin's Morning News. Every Wednesday at 8:45, it's Brewers broadcaster Jeff Levering. Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi in Green Bay for Abbott. I love talking about this story because it changed my life. Changed yours too. Snoring issues kept me up at night, kept my wife Kathy up at night. Tired, tossing and turning, snoring. Sound familiar? You don't have to agree to live with that or live with all those problems. I went to Abbott many years ago, 5 years ago now, and I wasn't a spokesperson. I was just a customer and a client. 30-minute visit. They answered all my questions. They put me at ease. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem, very common problem, sinuses, nasal passages. After a short procedure, back to breathing better than ever. And here's the big one. My wife, Kathy, and I sleeping through the whole night. You want that? If you struggle like we used to, take the time to see how Abbott can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Don't wait. Go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Hello.
Hey, Patrick. This is Rick from Lifetime Door. Congratulations. You are the winner of our Ugly Door contest. And we're going to get you a new door and a new opener.
Wow, excellent. The opener hasn't worked in about 10 to 15 years. It's needed to be replaced for so long. This is great. I am very happy.
I'd like you to come to our showroom in Brookfield because there's a lot of choices for you to make. It's going to be another 50 years before you need another one. So we're going to get you the right stuff that looks really nice.
This is great. Thank you.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your Accunet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Feeling thrifty? Wisconsin State Fair's got you covered. It's the last week for $14 admission tickets. Plus, discounted cream puffs sweeten the deal. With a sale this good, you'll be feeling good at the Wisconsin State Fair. Presented by U.S. Cellular, July 31st to August 10th.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I just got off the phone with the President, Donald Trump. He asked me to pass a message along to all 32 NFL franchises. So let me tell you what it reads here, all right? It says, my fellow Americans, the Bears still suck! Let's go!
Is this the first time you're hearing
I
it,
have
Jim?
not heard that.
Yep.
That is...
Kick it off.
Well done, sir. Hart, I know you're going to talk more about the Packers. I do think we should take a moment in the grab bag to talk about Pope Francis. A life incredibly well lived. We were here last Friday. By Monday, the Pope had passed. And the first Jesuit Pope, something that I think we never thought we'd see in our lifetime. I think a lot of people tried to make this Pope things that he was not, and that kind of happens with every Pope in terms of the politics of it. Like the Catholic Church and the papacy does not conform to right versus left in America. And I have certainly spent some time thinking just about the life he led and how we can all try to be better people no matter what our faith is. This is someone who lived and led by example, washing the feet of prisoners in South America.
Yep.
And continued that tradition as the Pope. And so as we have these, I think everybody is trying to come from a place of good intention when it comes to how we, protect our border and grow our economy and treat people. I would just ask everybody to spend some time reflecting on how this Pope lived and do what you can to reflect that kind of spirit into how you speak with people who might disagree with you, the amount of grace you give people who are trying to solve really hard problems. I know that I'm trying to do that, and that is one of the ways that I've tried to honor the memory of the late Pope. Rest in power, sir.
Rest in power.
Good luck on the campaign trail this weekend. Listen, if I were in the conclave, which couldn't happen because the Basilica walls would collapse, I would be voting for Timothy Dolan, the Cardinal from New York, formerly from Milwaukee.
I'll take some action on that.
I think he would grow the church ranks like nobody else. So my grab bag is Clay Matthews. I thought this was tremendous. I'm not going to kid you.
Totally unscripted.
I was a little
not
nervous
planned.
when he talked about Trump. I'm like, oh, crap. Are we going to get into politics?
Everyone puckered a little bit in
right
that moment.
away.
I was like, what are we doing?
Is he going to say make Green Bay great again? What is he going to say? But when he said the Bears still suck, the place went berserk, as all the listeners just heard. I thought it was the perfect start to the night. Everything about last night made me proud to be a Packer fan, proud to be a Wisconsinite. You guys all showed well. Packer fans are like no other, and people around the world got to hear a little bit more about Green Bay and about Wisconsin. And, you know, we're the only community-owned team. It's a special place. Lambeau Field, as Steve agrees, is Mecca in football, and the world was watching it last night. I loved it.
Absolutely. Steve, were you in the crowd when that happened?
Yeah, I have much love for the NFL and Green Bay Packers for making this happen. But I'm giving my grab bag and my love to all the people, the support people, the Uber drivers who were fantastic, the people, the support people, the folks just answering questions, the media representatives from all over the place. Everyone did a great job on day one, and I expect it to continue for day 2 and 3. I'll be here all day today, and I just love the fact that this is happening this year in Green Bay, and maybe it's a signal of some good things to come when the regular season starts.
All right, Steve, we'll get more of your rundown from your time there when we come back from the top of the hour news, but this has been the Political Power Hour with Bill McCoshen and Joe Zepecki on Point Taken. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll be back after this.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
When it rains, it pours. But sometimes it hails. Or worse.
That tornado warning again is for Fond du Lac and Dodge County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now.
Keep us within reach for Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts.
Even if a tornado does not touch down, we know that there are powerful straight line winds.
On 620 WTMJ and WTMJ.com.
Are you worried about running out of money in retirement? Wondering about how to pay less taxes? Join me, Tony Drake, for the Retirement Ready Show, live every Saturday at noon and Sunday at 7 a.m. on WTMJ 620 or 103.3 FM. We'll talk about smart strategies to help you retire with confidence. Don't miss it.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
The Bucks are taking the playoffs back home.
My mindset right now is game 3. I know what I got to do.
To turn things around against the Pacers.
Giannis the other way. Gallops down the lane and plunges it through with a right-hand jam. There was nothing in between him and the rim.
Our Game 3 coverage starts tonight at 6 with Bucks Shoot-Around on your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
11 o'clock, it's 47 degrees. Today, showers are likely and mostly cloudy and breezy, a high of 55. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Tiff Pua. The FBI arrests a Milwaukee County Circuit judge for allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant, quote, evade arrest.
Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested this morning at the Milwaukee County Courthouse on obstruction charges, sources tell WTMJ. FBI Director Kash Patel confirming to ABC News that Dugan, a 9-year veteran of the bench, quote, misdirected federal agents away from Eduardo Flores Ruiz when they tried to arrest him April 18th. Ruiz is a Mexican citizen and was arrested a short time later. The man's arrest is the third time in recent months federal immigration agents have come to the Milwaukee County Courthouse with arrest warrants. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Judge Dugan is in court now, appearing before a U.S. magistrate charged with 2 felony counts of obstruction. A Milwaukee public school finally reopens after being closed for weeks over lead dust.
Fernwood Montessori reopens today after the Milwaukee Health Department approved the school safety standards on Tuesday night. Fernwood, along with Starnes Early Childhood Center and La Follette School, have been closed for weeks due to elevated amounts of lead dust. Milwaukee Health Department officials say Starnes is more than 50% of the way through with its cleanup and hopes to open by the end of the month, while La Follette School will still undergo remediation for 4 to 6 weeks. Both MPS and MHD say they're close to presenting their lead action plan to the district. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge.
Reuters news agency has now published what they say is the full U.S. proposal. I've read through it. It tallies with exactly all of the reporting we've been doing over the last 2 days. It effectively does say that the front lines would be frozen more or less in the position that they are now, that the U.S. would de facto recognize all of that territory that Russia currently occupies as being part of Russia, and legally recognize the Crimean Peninsula, which Russia occupied 11 years ago, as being part of Russia.
Crimea is a strategic peninsula along the Black Sea in southern Ukraine. Preparations for the funeral tomorrow of Pope Francis and beyond. ABC's Terry Moran.
There will be 9 days of formal mourning, and during that time, the cardinals will meet privately to discuss the challenges facing the church and size each other up, because after that, the secret conclave, that ancient rituals, the cardinals in the Sistine Chapel, voting 4 times a day, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon, until they choose the next pope. And when they do, we'll see that white smoke coming up from the chimney, a sign that a successor to Francis has been chosen.
More than 150,000 people have gathered at the Vatican to say their final farewells. Titletown is gearing up for day 2 of the NFL Draft. WTMJ's John Mercure was in Green Bay.
Wow, is this incredible. I lived up here for 3 years. Never was there a weekend like this in April with the grills fired up, the beers flowing. The parking is at a premium, but people are beginning to fill up the lots, even spaces that go for $150. You know what's cool is there are Lions fans, Vikings fans, Bears fans, all wearing their gear. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's going to win on this day at the NFL Draft in Green Bay. Boy, does that smell good. I think those are brats. John Mercure, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A mixed day on the boards today. Your Dow is down 146 points to 39,948, but your S&P 500 is up 4 points to 5,489, and the NASDAQ is up 58 points to 17,224. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-672-6688. That's 800-672-6688. Again, 800-672-6688.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scaffidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds, reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely, and I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Packers have a new star fit for the green and gold, wide receiver Matthew Golden.
Hey, I'm finna bring that energy, man. I'm glad to be here. It's a blessing. Hey, let me get a green band 3. 1, 2, 3.
Golden is the first wide receiver pick for the Packers that they've made in the first round since 2002. Rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL Draft are tonight in Green Bay. The Bucs return to Fiserv form tonight, down 0-2 against the Pacers. Coverage of the Bucs starts with Bucs shoot around at 6 o'clock on WTMJ. And the Brewers head to St. Louis for 3 games against the Cardinals. Hear the game from Busch Stadium over on 94.5 ESPN. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Now, we had a crash at 45 North at North Avenue. That crash has been cleared, but the slowdowns are still there, trying to work themselves out. So it's a little slow through that area. If you are heading to Green Bay for the draft, everything is smooth sailing. Stay safe. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, showers are likely, but mostly cloudy and breezy with a high of 55. Tonight, decreasing clouds and breezy, a low of 39. For your Saturday, a few clouds and then it turns sunny, a high of 57. For your Sunday, partly cloudy and a high of 63. For your Monday, we've got a chance of showers and storms, but it's going to get warm, a high of 78 degrees. And for your Tuesday, morning showers and storms and breezy, high of 70 that falls in the afternoon. Right now in Madison, it's 49. In Waukesha, it's 56. If you're heading to Green Bay, it's light rain with 47 degrees. And in Milwaukee, cloudy and 47. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken. Steve is up in and around Green Bay. You were in Green Bay yesterday, right, Steve, right after our show?
Yes, I've been up in Green Bay for almost 24 hours, and it's been an absolute blast.
I mean, we were watching at home last night, and the amount of people in the crowd was just, I mean, how did that compare from when you went to Vegas a couple years back for the draft?
You know, that's a good question because Vegas is obviously different. Vegas was in a parking lot not attached to the stadium. It was just sort of in a downtown area of Las Vegas. It was cramped, and I never saw the official numbers for attendance, but I wasn't in the regular, like, walking around area. I was in the sort of the inner sanctum because we were invited by the Packers. So I can't really relate that, but I can tell you that yesterday, and I go to a lot of Packers games, it was that times at least 2, as we now know, and 2.5 probably more closely. And there was a period of time where it was really congested. And then I think people sort of felt their way and sort of spread out a little bit. There was a lot of room. And then those people who didn't want to, fight the crowds could go into the bowl and kind of enjoy it on the big screen, which is, one of the biggest in the NFL. So It was just handled perfectly. And I think, weather was always going to be the big question here. And they sort of dodged that bullet. It didn't rain yesterday. It was sunny for some parts of the afternoon. It wasn't extremely cold. Today, there's a little bit of light rain, but it's supposed to clear out tonight when I'm broadcasting from the Tundra Trio for ESPN 94.5. So I think that bullet has been dodged. Looks like the weekend, we'll see what Saturday brings. But so far, so good. And this is a tremendous thing for the state. And I love the fact that we were allowed to do this. And now we're showing that Wisconsin, as we know, because we both worked the RNC last summer, we can put on these big shows and do it really well.
And I think that's my question as far as, did it feel like things ran smoothly, even though there was so many people, as far as getting food, getting drop off from Ubers, like all the different logistical things most of us don't think of unless you are an event planner. Like, did things feel smooth?
Yes, I mean there was enough people to like direct you, and I came in through the media entrance, obviously different than most of the fans, but even there was plenty of help. I walked in with Wayne Larrabee, not former voice of the Packers, former WTMJ guy, and we were chatting about how much room there. The rush center where the media is located is just expansive. I could have spread out and had my own space. It's a little noisy, but I mean it's so well constructed. And again, I reminded people during Vince and Eric's show this morning, Wisconsin Morning News. This is an NFL production. They're in Green Bay, but the NFL is really good at this. I've been to Super Bowls. I've been to, obviously, now 2 drafts. They're good at staging this stuff. Everything's first class, and they know what they're doing. And for fans who are thinking about it, trust your instincts. Go. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that you may never get again, at least here in Green Bay. So come and enjoy it.
So is it free entry? You just have to like pay for parking, but basically you can get there and just walk around?
Yeah, you have to figure out your logistics of getting in and parking. But after that, nothing's free, of course. You get in free, but then obviously you got to pay for your food and beverage. But it's just, there's a lot of free stuff you can do on the ground. You can see the Super Bowl trophies and the rings and all that stuff. You can go to the now NFL Pro Shop because they've sort of taken over the Packer Pro Shop. And the greatest thing, I told this to the morning guys, you can walk up the south steps to Lambeau, which those of people who have gone in that way. It's sort of this grandiose staircase, and you walk into the concourse, and then you can directly look through one of the little tunnels into the field. It's pretty amazing, especially for people who have never been here before. So if you're one of those people who have never gone to a game, here's a chance to maybe see what that feels like. And I love the fact that some of the neighbors who live just east of Lambeau, they're just walking over and seeing whatever. It's just the coolest thing. I love the fact that we're getting a chance to do this.
Yeah, I had a little FOMO last night watching as far as you getting to be up there and me just having to be here holding down the fort. But maybe we'll end the show with a couple more takeaways from Steve, who was up at the draft in Green Bay for up until tomorrow. You're staying there tonight too, right?
Yeah, I'm there tonight, and then I'll be on the Fox World Travel Show at 9, hopefully at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
You never rest, man. All right. When we come back, there is a new proposal from Ron DeSantis in Florida on how he thinks Florida should deal with their labor shortage. And so we'll get into that after this on Point Taken.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
70 years ago, the Blaine brothers founded Blaine's Farm and Fleet as one of the nation's first retail stores to sell goods at a discount. And we've helped supply Midwest farms and families with quality products at unbeatable prices ever since. Like select Farnham Equine Fly Masks, $5 off, 5 gallons of Mystic Tractor Fluid, $39.99 after mail-in rebate, and 130-count Gojo Fast Towels Cleaning Buckets, $17.99. Find value on the things you value. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I've got a great idea for your Saturday. How about hanging out with us on Experience Wisconsin? I love the show because I love our state. We take you all over the place, introduce you to some of the people, the places, the events that are going on. This week, we've got some cool stuff. The town of Brookfield is focused, and so is Central Wisconsin. We check out Stevens Point. That's right. It's Experience Wisconsin on WTMJ. Saturdays at 1, we're going to introduce you to all sorts of really cool things. Maybe visit some old friends.
Honoring those who dedicate their lives to keeping us safe, WTMJ is highlighting first responders who went above and beyond this past year through Steve Scaffidi's Salute to Service, presented by Waterstone Bank. You can nominate your first responder now at WTMJ.com or on the WTMJ mobile app. The nomination period is open now through May 9th. Finalists will be recognized during Hero Week, May 19th through May 23rd. Help us tell your stories. WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi Salute to Service, presented by Waterstone Bank. All right, Steve, we just had some more breaking news this morning, and then we'll pivot back to Florida. George Santos sentenced to 87 months in prison. It's funny because in this interim, since he's left Congress, I feel like he pops up on my Instagram feed doing lots of podcasts, being kind of a sassy, like still trying to be in the spotlight. And now seems like we'll at least get an 87-month break from him.
Yeah, we'll see how prison works out for him, whether he enjoys that experience as much as he's enjoyed being on podcasts and the like. So, yeah, it's justice, right? I mean, he certainly was someone who was engaged in a lot of nefarious activities. And I think there has to be a reckoning for people that do these things. And this is sort of the extreme, absurd example of the absurdity of politics, right? He was just so ridiculous in the things he was doing that you have to mete out some punishment. And to me, it's probably a fair sentence. It's pretty long term. So we'll see if he serves it all and what that experience is like for the still young man.
It's still shocking to me that he got through his candidacy with not a single investigative reporter looking into him before he actually got elected. That still to me is the craziest part of this whole story, is that it wasn't because he flipped a district, didn't he? So it wasn't.
Why do you think that is?
It wasn't just a safe seat, like a safe Republican seat that he won. It was he flipped a district, and yet there was no insight or like any reporter looking into who he was, and now has been convicted of wire fraud and aggravated identity theft.
I'll hang my hat on this on that piece of what you just asked. I think it shows really strongly why they sort of pull back from. I'm air quoting, but you can't see it. Legacy media, what some people think it's bad. They actually do the heavy lifting on this stuff. So you find out these stories. And as we pull back from that and get into the world of podcast news and fake news and all that other nonsense, this stuff slips through the cracks. And somebody like George Santos, who's eminently non-qualified or unqualified to be a congressperson, gets in. And then, of course, mayhem ensues. And so that's sort of a warning in my world, a warning shot to anybody who thinks you're going to blow up legacy media in sort of this search for some other kind of news and fact seeking. No.
When you say legacy media, you mean like local media. So like whatever the equivalent in his district of like the Journal Sentinel or something that is as reporters who are dedicated to that area versus expecting that the New York Times is going to care about a congressional race versus everything else that's going on. That's what you mean?
500 plus of those races. Yeah, there's 500 plus of those races. You think they're going to dig in from New York or Washington, D.C. on this stuff? That's where local journalism matters. You work for the Journal Sentinel. You know the former now-retired Bill Glauber and the Molly Becks and Mary Spacuzas. They're damn good at their jobs, and they can find out things. And that's why trusting politicians or parties or elected officials to give us the straight skinny on this stuff is just it's a fool's errand and really dumb. But I know that sort of idea is gaining traction, and it drives me nuts.
Well, I think there's a little bit of it for I'm a fan of new media in one sense, but I don't think it replaces journalism, right? As someone who I don't consider myself a journalist. Some people ascribe that to me, and I always correct them because when I think of journalists, I think of exactly that: someone who is going through budgets, someone who is doing the painstaking work of actually reporting on things and showing up and getting the direct sources. I feel like I'm someone who provides commentary, but not reporting. And so
I would add informed commentary and educated commentary.
Certainly, but it's still different than being witness to something and reporting on it. And that takes budget, and that takes resources, and that takes newsrooms and an editorial discretion as far as fact checking. And I think it was I'm going to blank his name right now. But the guy who wrote Sapiens and the guy who wrote Nexus most recently, he was on Bill Maher, and he was talking about the fact of how expensive the truth is, as far as he's fiction is cheap, but the truth is expensive as far as what it takes and human resource to actually vet something to report the truth versus anyone being able to make up anything at any time.
It's why I get very defensive on social media. I've sort of stepped back a little bit from that when people start criticizing the Journal Sentinel because they're reporting things they don't like. Instead of addressing that, they want to criticize the journalist or call them names. Be smarter than that. That's not a good trend, and I don't want to see it continue.
All right. Well, now that we've taken up this segment, now we'll come back after this next commercial and talk
Let's
about
get
Florida.
to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it on Point Taken on WTMJ.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. Trade tensions and tariff headaches keep markets on a wild ride. Yes, they do, making personalized financial planning more crucial than ever. And Annex Help is only a call or visit away, tailored to fit your life, not your neighbors. Whether you're weighing every option, sizing up investments, or diving into annuities and pensions, their team has your back, always has your back. No cookie cutter plans here. As a fee-only fiduciary, Annex skips the commission chase, focusing purely on what works best for you. Their lineup, and I've met all these people, CFPs, CFAs, CPAs, PhDs, wealth strategists, it's a lot of stuff. And attorneys bring serious expertise to tackle your goals. Maybe you're puzzling over when to claim Social Security, looking at trimming your tax burden, always a good goal, or wondering if your investments are pulling their weights. Retirement brings big decisions, and it's sometimes easy to miss a step. Annex Wealth Management can guide you through all of that, helping your plans stay sharp and steady. Ready to get started? Know the difference. Visit annexwealth.com.
Burkhardt Sporting Goods has a great reputation for producing custom team apparel. We're total team outfitters and we can handle the biggest jobs. Our success in custom team apparel led us into group and corporate apparel. Plus, we have a full selection of promotional products for employee gifts, special events, you name it. And we've made it easy for our customers to firm up their orders. The group sale web stores that we build for our customers are a simple way of gathering all the information you need. They're easy to work, easy to understand, and with them you'll have access to nearly limitless options. We've seen that most times we're better priced than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer. Plus Nike and Under Armour choices that the other guys can't get. And we offer a huge brand selection from Yeti, North Face, and Carhartt too. This is Brian Burkhardt. For team, group, or corporate custom outfitting and promotional products, it's going to be really hard to beat our prices, selection, and ease of buying for any size budget and every size company. And that's why we always say,
You can't beat Burkhardt.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristin Brey. Steve Scaffidi is up in, I guess, near Green Bay. Going to be on ESPN tonight from 6 to 10. Is that right, Steve?
That's my understanding. Some of it might be on YouTube as well, because there's obviously some other things in sports happening. But I'll start on, I think we have a simulcast, or at least it'll be on ESPN 94.5 at 6.
All right, very exciting. Well, I just realized, actually, producer Jazz just reminded me that we never got to the Florida story we were going to talk about yesterday, but now we have another Florida story today. So, and kind of potentially, the two could go hand in hand. So yesterday we were going to talk about the fact that there has been a drop in people moving to Florida. So we saw a huge boom for them in 2023, kind of in and around the COVID years. And now there has been a big drop off. Now, is that just the market correcting itself? Or is it also due to huge increases in insurance rates and the impact of living near the water in Florida and what that could do to property value?
Yeah, I think it's the latter, right? I know my brother owns a home in Florida, and he said it's crazy, absolutely crazy what's happened in the last 5 years.
Because there's certain insurance companies that just aren't going to insure people. It's the same thing in California as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you have this beautiful home that's been destroyed or you want to replace it, where are you coming up with that if you don't have insurance carrier that's willing to provide that coverage? And A lot of these things are being battled in courts, in state courts, and probably even past that at some point, because these things take a lot of time. And the Florida thing is always interesting to me. I lived in Florida for about a year and a half in the 80s, much different time. Great state, but it had its problems then. It has its problems now, and I lived right on the water. It's an interesting state, and certainly their governor, Ron DeSantis, former candidate for president, is somebody who is sort of a lightning rod for a lot of different people and a lot of different issues.
Well, so it's interesting because I wouldn't have thought of Florida as having a labor shortage because of so many of the stories and the headlines of how many people were moving there over the last couple of years in comparison to Wisconsin, where we know we have a labor shortage issue, but did not think that of Florida. But apparently they also have a state labor shortage. And now Governor Ron DeSantis is pitching a somewhat, depending on who you ask, controversial solution, basically to get more teenagers to work and loosen the child labor laws. And it's interesting because even in Wisconsin, we had this back in 2023 there. I remember there was a proposal to basically change the rules as far as how young you could be to deliver drinks if you worked in a restaurant. And we've kind of seen this trend, not just in Florida, but over the last couple of years, more states wanting to loosen restrictions and let younger people work more. Do you have thoughts on this, Steve?
Yeah, I love this topic, and you and I are going to do a much more broader, expansive look at this. I'll probably surprise you with my take. I like the fact you're thinking about these things. I have been somebody who's talked for a long time about how education has to evolve. And for many students, traditional education is not a path and not necessarily a career path either. And if we could use 16 and 17-year-olds who have sort of not dropped out, but just not achieved what they wanted to achieve. Now, we have to have basic education. We have to be able to read and write and all that stuff. But if they want to do something different, sort of relaxing some of the hours restrictions, which is one piece of this conversation, extended conversation in Florida's legislature, that might be a path to sort of making more people feel like they're involved in our country's workforce, rather than just sort of, just hanging out there trying to get a diploma, from, diploma mills or other ways you can do that. And I think there's a potential there. Now, I have no idea what Florida's end product is going to look like on this, other than it can't be just a mad dash for young workers. That would be lazy and superficial. I don't want to see that happen. But there's potential here, but it involves both the educational side of it and also the trades, and certainly all those businesses in Florida and elsewhere that are going to use those workers. I think there's potential there.
But there's been potential. It's not like there's a bar on people from under 18 from working. There is restrictions and regulations to protect young people from getting exploited. And that's the thing that I think is, you think about the average, a teenager who has involved parents and the opportunity to go work and make their own money and all of that being good. And you think about people who are young, people who have no one in their life who's necessarily going to stand up for them, and the ability for a capitalist society and a maybe not good faith employer to put them in dangerous situations because there is no one who is actually in their corner standing up for them. And then we get into the reason why we have child labor laws in the first place, and so that children go to school and don't get exploited.
That's why the process and the rules of this matter. And I certainly wouldn't advocate for younger than that be working any sort of significant. I worked as a bagger when I was 14 years old, but that was like, a few hours a week. There's potential here, but it involves all of those entities, educational, business, governmental, all working together. We'll see if Florida's smart enough to figure it out. They certainly figured out how to count their ballots, so maybe they're onto something.
That was a while ago, though, wasn't it?
2000, yeah.
Yeah,
but look how good it works now.
Much better than it apparently works here. All right, when we come back from the bottom of the hour news, there is
I surprised you.
A bigger conversation around. There's two different things. There is a case going in front of the Supreme Court about Maryland parents wanting to have the opportunity to have their kids skip certain classes, to opt out. And then there was also a case of a lecturer who was not allowed to give his speech at the Naval Academy. And I just wanted to have a bigger conversation with you, Steve, as far as exposing yourself to things you disagree with and why that is a good thing, at least in my point of view. But first, ABC News and local headlines.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Just happening this hour, a federal judge in New York sentenced former Congressman George Santos to 87 months in prison, followed by 2 years of supervised release. He pleaded guilty to fraud and identity theft charges. Santos cried and said he regrets defrauding voters. A judge has been arrested in a Milwaukee courthouse by immigration police. County Judge Hannah Dugan accused of interfering with the arrest of an undocumented immigrant. So said FBI Director Kash Patel in a post on X, which has since been deleted. ABC News has learned that former New Mexico Judge Joe Cano and his wife are also to be arrested. KOA-TV reported the former judge responds to allegations of harboring Venezuelan gang members, calling it sensationalism. American consumer sentiment is down for a fourth straight month. A survey from the University of Michigan. Senior Russian military officer has been killed by a car bomb. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:31. I'm Tiff Pua. Local reaction to Judge Hannah Dugan's arrest by the FBI. WTMJ's Nazir Spencer is outside the courthouse.
Live outside the federal courthouse in Milwaukee, where a small group of protesters have gathered following the arrest of Judge Hannah Dugan. She's facing obstruction charges after federal officials say she interfered with an immigration arrest last week. The FBI alleges Dugan misled agents during an attempt to detain Eduardo Flores Ruiz, a Mexican citizen who was later taken into custody nearby. Dugan has served on the Milwaukee County bench for 9 years. Nazir Spencer, WTMJ News.
An overnight home invasion turns deadly just north of downtown Milwaukee. A 70-year-old victim was battered and killed inside a home near 8th and Galena. A known suspect remains at large. Milwaukee receives a passing water quality grade and low grades for water infrastructure. The city's annual water quality report shows compliance with federal and state guidelines for lead and copper levels, but 2 sites in the Uptown and River West neighborhoods show levels above the EPA action limit. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's water infrastructure receives a D grade. And the WIAA approves name, image, and likeness opportunities for high school athletes. WIAA member schools voted 293 to 108 in favor of the provision 1 year after a similar proposal was voted down. The provision allows high school athletes to enter the NIL deals so long as they don't wear their team uniform or use school logos in any advertisement. The NIL changes are expected to take effect in May. Time for news about your money. Here's your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. It continues to be a mixed bag on the board today. The Dow is down 86 points to 40,007, but the S&P 500 is up 17 points to 5,502, and your NASDAQ is up 122 points to 17,288. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. No real big incidents to report. And if you are heading to Green Bay for the NFL draft, it is smooth sailing everywhere you go. Stay safe, everyone. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Showers are likely, mostly cloudy and breezy with a high of 55. Tonight, decreasing clouds and breezy, a low of 37. For your Saturday, a few clouds and then it turns sunny, a high of 57. For your Sunday, partly cloudy with a high of 63. For your Monday, we've got that chance of showers and storms and then it gets sunny and really warm. Your high is 78 degrees. For your Tuesday, morning scattered showers and then breezy, a high of 70, but that falls way into the afternoon. Right now in East Troy, it's 56. If you're heading to Green Bay, it's light rain and 46 degrees. And in Milwaukee, it's cloudy and 47 degrees. I'm Tiff Pua. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Okay, who's ready to fish? Fleet Farm's all stocked and ready to go with the hottest brands to help you gear up for the season. Like the latest lines and lures from Berkley, Fluger rods and reels, Northland tackle, bobbers, and bait, all sorts of Senko worms, the best in fish finders from Humminbird, Lowrance, and Garmin, St. Croix rods, new releases from Abu Garcia, and more. Stop in and check out the latest fishing gear from all your favorite brands at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
Hi, I'm Rose Gray with Fox World Travel, and I'm excited to share that our exclusive guided Alaska land and sea journeys are now available for 2026. We partner with Holland America Line to curate the best and most sought-after experiences to Alaska. We send hundreds of travelers from Wisconsin to Alaska every year, along with experienced Fox tour managers for peace of mind. Don't just picture Alaska, live it. We have limited spots, and these tours are booking fast. Visit Fox World Travel online or call 866 Go Fox Go.
James Imaging Systems. Local support, local accountability, local business technology representatives. Listen to Matheson Manufacturing President Al Leidinger.
She still checks in to see how things are going and if we need anything. So I really do appreciate that from a customer service standpoint.
Michael Quizon, IT Systems Administrator at Great Midwest Bank, discovered the benefits of working with the local team at James.
Our cost from supplies perspective went down. I mean, we're talking about thousands in a year. So we saved a lot of money by bringing James Imaging on.
James Imaging Systems client Luther Gray, Director of Ticket Operations and Group Sales with the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra, on dealing with James.
They are making sure you get the full value and life of every product that you have with them.
Local support, local accountability, local people. Get it all with James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
It is Point Taken with Steve and Kristin. Steve is up in Green Bay. I am in the studio. All right, Steve. So it's so hard because there's so much news every week. But I grabbed this one. So earlier this week, it seemed like the conservative justices on the U.S. Supreme Court signaled that they may require schools to provide some opt out for parents who have religious objections to LGBTQ books. And this comes from a case. So there was Maryland parents who wanted the ability to have their kids opt out of certain themes at school. And the school argued this creates kind of a logistical nightmare. And if the court sides with the parents, this is kind of a bigger case as far as who gets to set boundaries in public schools and how much more of a burden do we put on public schools to accommodate every family.
Mm-hmm. This might surprise you as well. So in that county, they already have exemptions. You can excuse your kids from things like sex ed, which is not surprising, Halloween celebrations, Valentine's Day celebrations. It's sort of one of those be careful what you ask for things. So when you're talking about LGBTQ rights or education, whatever you're talking about, it just gets added in this mix of things that someone's offended by. Therefore, we're going to yank our kids out. So once you start going down this road of, exclusionary education, I don't know, like I can't understand why someone would be mad about Halloween or Valentine's Day, but certainly when you talk about religious doctrine that says, well, we don't talk about that in our household because it's not part of our faith. How can you not respect that wish when you're respecting other ones that are maybe a lot less significant? I guess that's my dilemma on this. In schools, and parents certainly have to figure this out. And then parents have a lot of rights, and probably in the scheme of the last, 8 years, they've gotten increasingly more vocal and more and exercising those rights at school board meetings and in front of their administrators and certainly to the teachers. So this is sort of where we're going on all of this stuff.
I guess part of this is, and I just had dinner with friends earlier this week who have chosen to homeschool their kids for a variety of reasons. And he was the dad stays home. He's a homeschool. He homeschools the girls. He was a former teacher, and this is not anything as far as, if you want to homeschool, that is perfectly fine. There's different curriculum you can get. But it's like, how much control should each parent have over public school curriculum instead of just like, if there's all this stuff you want your kid to avoid, just homeschool them?
Sure, but not everyone has that option, of course. But I guess this is where it gets bringing that to it. That's a byproduct of our increased technology, our second to second, microsecond, it's the microsecond communication. Everybody's aware of these things where they maybe weren't in the past. I want kids to learn. I don't want us to be spending all of our time focused on these kinds of conversations. And I'm not trying to pick out LGBTQ. I understand they have rights. Those individuals have rights as well that have to be respected, not disregarded, not mistreated. So I want to be clear on that. But when we, at the end of the day, and I'm just go back to my basic educational sort of stance I've had for at least 8 years, teach the basics, get that right. And then you can start worrying about some of the other things that are on the table that maybe you can enhance the educational experience. And I think we're suffering at the first one, at the sort of the entertainment of the second piece.
So you think? So I know you've said this before. What was your claim before, that if you should only teach math and English, and until they master that, they shouldn't have any other extracurriculars?
Well, I would never use the word master. They have to have basic educational skill levels in the things we all need to function: reading, writing, arithmetic. Once they've done that, then they can have access to all the other cool stuff that we all sort of love. But what
age do you decide that they could have access to other stuff? So that's what first graders don't get to have like art class?
No, I'm talking high school.
But what about like social studies? Like, I mean, I feel like the things I remember from elementary school and social studies.
That's a civics class. That's certainly fine. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Government, knowing what your government does is probably first and foremost the key to having a government that actually functions. We don't have enough of that.
So just anything to do with identity we shouldn't teach.
I'm not saying you don't teach it. I'd say it can't be that and nothing else. That's where we fall down on this stuff. When we get in these arguments about stuff that really is just making everyone suffer. Parents, children, school administrators, we're all constantly fighting about it, which again, nothing gets done.
But to me, and then we'll take a break and come back, because to me, so much about an education is consistently opening you up to things you didn't know before. Yes or no?
Absolutely.
And that is ideally, educating yourself is a lifelong goal of exposing yourself to different ideas, to new ideas, to a different way of thinking. And to me, it is, you are limiting your kid by not letting them get exposed to different things. And then coming home and having a conversation about it at home as far as what your family values are, and having both things exist. So when we come back, I want to talk about just that, because the Navy this month canceled a speaking engagement like an hour before it was supposed to happen with author and podcaster Ryan Holiday, who speaks a lot about Stoicism. So his whole speech was about, you can't do anything. How are you ever going to compete anything if you don't understand it? So let's talk more about that on the other side of this on Point Taken on WTMJ.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers, where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today. He told us to load 4 yards into his 8-foot bed, but we knew that 3 full, honestly measured yards were going to fill his truck bed to the rim. After we proved that, he told us the other guys have been telling him he's been getting 4 yards in there for years. Honest measurements and honest folks who just want to do you right. So you come back. Erickson's Landscape Supply, high-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
The most common reason pain sufferers come to us is to be able to perform their daily tasks without suffering through them. Grandparents who want to be able to take their grandkids on walks and to the park. Or those that just want to be able to get out of their vehicle with more ease than pain. Rejuvenex pain treatments can help, and the sooner you get to calming down that pain, the better it will be. These are powerful, FDA-approved pain treatments precisely administered with an extremely small needle to get to the root of your pain. And before you know it, you'll feel the anti-inflammatory power of Toradol and the cushioning relief of hyaluronic acid. Positive patient results are regularities, not rarities. And we do this conveniently in office, so it's very easy for you. And we're in network with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, which could mean zero out-of-pocket costs for your pain relief treatment.
Rejuvenex.
rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
It's Point Taken with Steve and Kristin on this Friday. Steve is up in Green Bay, but we're still making it work. It's our first. It's good test of our listening skills to one another, right, Steve?
I think so. I mean, because I don't see you, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm paying attention. I actually am jotting notes, and so I think it's actually for me, it's a net positive. I actually like the experience.
Well, I like it too. I like it better when you're here. Because we can,
of course,
we can gossip at the commercial breaks.
See my face.
Yeah, exactly.
That part's a lot easier.
All right, so I wanted to talk about this because and there's still, it's a little bit more complicated, I think, when people are children and if they're failing in certain places as far as parental control in public schools, and there's that conversation that we were just having that could have a Supreme Court decision soon. Separately, this was earlier this month that the Navy canceled a speaking engagement for the Naval Academy in Maryland. And there was a popular podcast. Have you heard of Ryan Holiday before? Do you know who this is?
I've heard the name, but I've never listened to the podcast.
So I didn't know much about Stoicism until I started following him. And I think he's a really good listen. He's a really good social media follow. So he was set to speak, and it seems like it was an hour before he was supposed to talk. He received a call, and they asked if he would refrain from any mention in his remarks on the recent removal of 381 controversial books from the campus library at the Naval Academy. His slides had been set up as a chain of command at the school, which was now, as it was explained to him, extremely worried about his talk if it appeared to mention that. And he said he wouldn't take it out of his speech, that he was still going to talk about it. And then that was when they were like, all right, we're no longer going to have you give this speech. Do you have thoughts on that? Because the whole thing with banned books to me goes back to what I said before we went to break, is just how are you supposed to just outrightly reject something without understanding it at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot wrapped into that question and this topic. So, I mean, Stoicism, for people who don't know, it's a philosophy that encourages you to accept things you can't control, focusing on what you can, look at it in a more positive way. So it goes back to what we were just talking about. With young people, obviously parents have a lot of control over what their kids can see, especially at home, maybe not so much recently as they do in classrooms, but we have, it was always defined this way, and typically it was on sexual themed material, community standards. And that gets a little touchy, and we've had Supreme Court cases and state court cases on that issue over the last few decades, not really resolved. But again, you're talking about a higher level of education here. Banning books at this level is stupid, and I'm not afraid to say that. That's just dumb. What are you doing here? These are not little tiny babies we're talking about. And if you can't listen to someone say something that maybe challenges you at that level, I mean, come on. That's just silly. So I wouldn't support banning a speaker or canceling a speaker for that reason. At this level, it's stupid.
Well, especially because it feels like it's the hypocrisy, because the other way has happened, right? This has been an issue on college campuses when there's been protests or cancellation of Ben Shapiro talking, or what was it, Milo? What was the long
at Berkeley, that guy?
Yeah. But or
what is his last name?
The other Daily Wire guy, Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
Is that the guy who's always making tours?
Yeah.
And so
I would ban Ben Shapiro just for talking too damn fast. But
he does talk very fast.
He does.
But I feel like this is a message that is important. The message of Ryan's speech, because he then went on to write a New York Times op-ed about this, is that he talks about someone, it was James Stockdale, I think it's James, who had gone and gotten a master's in like the social sciences. And it was literally this quote. It says, you really can't do well competing against something you don't understand as well as something you can, because he went and studied Marxism. And this was in the 1960s. This was during a time when we were fighting communism, right? And so the idea that you're ever going to be able to just shut down and not understand something and just label it as bad without understanding it, I think is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, I remember talking about the young children before, and you didn't say it, but elementary school level. Well, can you perceive these more complex societal, cultural issues if you don't have the basic reading, writing, arithmetic skills to even get past like basic comprehension? That's sort of my point. That's why I do make a separation between early ed and later ed. I think there is that line that kids, they've shown they can at least consume it in a way that's not going to bias them or influence what they actually think about until they actually have a way to process all that information. You know, it's why we have people that are really good at being medical professionals. They've studied, they've done it. Like everyone's like expert on everything now. I hate that part of our culture. But in some things, yes, you have to sort of mature into the final product. And I think that's sort of what education is floundering with right now. They're trying to figure it out. And it's not easy.
Not easy.
Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it shouldn't be.
All right, let's take one more break and we'll come back and wrap things up because there's a new study out that you should embrace aging. And most people, it sounds like, are. So stay with us. Point taken.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. 16-year-old boy named Tyler Snowden.
I was in my house. I heard screaming. I seen the kid on top of the roof. The house is on fire. So I took a ladder, ran over, put the ladder up, grabbed the 4 kids, and helped the mom down the ladder. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I just took the ladder and ran.
Everyday hero on Wisconsin's Morning News, presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi from Milwaukee Weight Loss. You know I love talking about it because it changed my life as well. I've been on this journey 3+ months now. Get this, almost 40 pounds lost. It's the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day. Their doctors have developed, and they work with their customers and clients. Easy to follow. I've followed it. You can. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections. No risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff, the meals, the bars, the shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's an important concept. So you can keep the weight off for good with a coach like mine, Emily, outstanding. They're all great at Milwaukee Weight Loss. They support your efforts. Their program costs up to, get this, half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Most patients, 20 to 30 pounds lost in a month or two. You can be a success story. It's crazy to watch your body lose that weight, but you're going to feel great doing it. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 2-liter bottle selected varieties Super Chill Soda, 2 for $3. 4-count double roll selected varieties Bounty Towels, $7.99. 6-pack 0.5-liter bottle selected varieties Splash Blast Water, 2 for $6. 40 to 48-ounce selected varieties Starbucks Iced Coffee, $5.49.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh. Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
You've got several kids, or your job and other commitments keep you buried with work.
Meanwhile, the clutter is piling up at home. How can people stay tidy when their lives are in chaos?
We have a solution to help you chase away the chaos.
Yes. He's Dan, and I'm Katie. Together, we're Inspired Closets.
Our team at Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space via gorgeous closet renovations.
And our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer. Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Bernhardt.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Someone from the text line from the 815 said Steve and Kristin are a great combination to cover old school ideas and new current ideas.
Yes,
like that,
baby,
Steve?
that's right. Thank you for that text.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're trying to always find more positive stories to end the show with, and we only have about a minute left before Steve gets to go enjoy his day at the draft, but there's new data that shows that happiness and well-being steadily climb with age. Now, Steve, you are quite a bit older than me.
Yes, significantly older.
Would you agree that each decade has been better than the last for you?
Yeah, absolutely. In remarkable in different ways. You know, when you get to be my age, you discover grandkids and how cool they are and awesome. And just between you and me and whoever's listening, grandkids are even better than your own damn kids.
Well, that's because you can give them back, right?
Yeah, you give them back and you can just spoil them. You learn things. You learn from experience if you're doing it the right way. And yeah, everyone's got challenges. I have challenges. Kristin has challenges. You all have challenges. But the benefits of aging are you should get smarter. But here's the other big thing. Don't dwell on the negative. This is one of the reasons I love doing this at the end of the shows. We're too negative. We got to knock that off. I know people make a lot of money being negative. I don't want us, this show, our station, this city, this state, this country to be one of those.
Well, I don't know. How do I top that for the weekend?
I don't think you can.
I don't think I can.
Honest.
I would also agree, even though I am just shy of 40, that I have each my 30s were better than my 20s, and I have every expectation that my 40s will be better than my 30s. So
there you go.
I concur
and you're a young mom. You're killing it on the radio. You got Journal Sentinel work. You got everything going. Social media. Like the list is long.
List is long. All right, friend. Well, we're officially done with a full week of shows together. I guess it's not actually a full week because you weren't here Monday. So next week we'll aim for having a full 5-day schedule with one another for Point Taken. But have fun up there, Steve. We will see you Monday.
All right, if you're coming up, I'll see you at the draft.
All right. Next is Wisconsin's Midday News on WTMJ.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown.